Was able to do 5 last month, which is the biggest I've ever made. That was huge, man. Hopefully we get 6 this month, maybe even 7. We're looking pretty good.
Welcome back to another video, guys. Inside this video, we're going to be going through a quick interview with Mr. Jake Splendorio. If you guys are fans of the channel, you would have seen him in this video before. Welcome back, Jake. How are you doing, man? How you feeling?
Thank you, man. I appreciate the introduction, Ethan. I'm good, man. I've been just putting in the work, bro. Nothing crazy over here.
Great, dude. And for people who don't know you, or like if they haven't watched the last video, give us like a quick sort of like summary into how we got connected and like where you were at sort of in your journey back then, kind of in that stage of your life.
Yeah. So I started out cold calling for like a marketing agency for real estate agents, that sort of stuff. That was when I just got out of college, and I was doing that for like 6 months, but knew I wanted to get into something more. So from there, I was like, all right, well, closing, high ticket, even setting, like, was the space that I wanted to get into because obviously there's a ton more money to be made. So I found you through YouTube. We connected, reached out, and you sent the absolute godsend of like the actual landing offer sort of stuff. And so, yeah, working with you, bro, I was able to land that first offer, closing, and from there, man, was there for about 3, 4 months, I think, closing on that specific offer. And that was that video that you filmed on that YouTube channel when I was super, super ass. Just kind of like by the grace of God was able to make a little bit of money there. But yeah, from there, man, just been able to hone in and like actually lock in, really stay focused and just keep the vision on that long-term goal of like hitting that 10K a month with closing. So yeah, ended up bouncing an offer from there. And now I'm on my current offer, just hit 5 last month. So that's been the biggest month for me so far, and hopefully looking to double that this month.
Can you give us a breakdown of like what your offer sells, what they do, what the price is?
Yeah, so I am on a growth operating offer. So for context, it's essentially just a fancy term for like a info product scaling agency. We work directly with coaches, creators in the online space who already have a bit of a following, but they don't know how to monetize it. So they don't know how to run like high ticket, low ticket offers. So we teach our students how to come in and build out all the funnels, all the VSLs, landing pages, do offer building, market research, run sales teams, that sort of stuff for these creators so that they can really scale and get to those like 6-figure months. And what was the other question with that?
Offer price?
Yeah. So we sell a $6,000 offer.
Okay, 6,000,
Yeah,
and you
man.
get 10% commission?
Yeah, and I get 10% comms, and I kind of get a little base too. It's like a little 500 thing for filling out end of day reports, which is sweet.
Oh, killer. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Do
man.
you feel like you could have gotten this role if it wasn't for your first role?
No, definitely not, bro. It was so like you were the essentially the launch pad for me into the high ticket space because I had no idea how to film a Loom video. I had no idea how to even sell or like anything like that at all. I just did cold calling. So it was a pretty different leap for me getting into that in the first place. But after working with you, was able to land that first role, which then launch padded me to where I am now because I could send them over certain calls that I had and just kind of show them how I sold, and it wasn't like just a, basic mock call. It was like actual real experience related to the marketing space. So yeah, I mean that definitely played a huge role in me landing where I'm at right now. And I think that's the whole name of this game is just like every step of the way is a launch pad. So you're not gonna, I mean, some people do get lucky, but oftentimes at the beginning, like you have to just have that focus of just being like, this is like I'm gonna have to, work on this offer. I may not be making the most amount of money. I may not be making 10K, but like this offer is going to allow me to get to the offer that I can be making 10K on.
Hmm. What do you hope to learn in order for you to be able to do that?
Yeah, it's very skill based, man, but also it comes down to just processes. Like for instance, like what to do when you don't have like a call show up. So like having a process in place for like, okay, well now I'm gonna go dial leads and like actually being hungry, being like a go-getter in this space is super important because if you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs for a whole hour, then you could potentially have just lost out on 6 grand.
Okay. So basically just like follow up with leads and kind of set your own deals as well. Don't just be like a lazy inbound closer kind of thing.
Yeah, and like I even have a thing where I try to do like if somebody's So the biggest thing is just making sure your calendar is filled so that you can be getting the skills, the experience. If it's not, or even if like, so let's say it is filled, but it's a lead that's maybe not qualified or like they didn't answer from like the setter hitting them up. I'll try to mark that slot as free on my calendar so that I can essentially get double booked and just take a more qualified lead. So it's all about like just being proactive and like actually making sure that you're on the call. That's the biggest thing. And then like eventually like with better roles, that's not always going to be such of a big deal because you're going to get more qualified people, more interested people from like more organic stuff, and they're definitely going to want to show up. But like the biggest thing is just when you're on a roll, you have to maximize like what you can do as a closer. And
Mm.
so whether that's following up, whether that's, like if your calendar's booked, but you're getting a lot of no-shows, just making sure that you're on the call with somebody as much as possible is just what I've found to help.
So walk us through like a average day.
I've actually been getting into jujitsu, which is super fun because like, after a while, like, just the basic gym stuff gets boring. So it's like, all right, fuck it. Let me try my hand in some MMA stuff. So I've been doing jujitsu in the morning. So I'll do that around like 7 in the morning, get back, and then my calendar's open usually from 9 to 8 p.m. Now that's just like me grinding, right? That's like a long ass day. Obviously, I'm not taking calls that whole time. Like I said, there's no shows, like there's blocks in between where people won't schedule that sort of stuff. So yeah, for me, man, it's just like getting some sort of exercise in the morning, whether it's jujitsu, going to the gym, or even just going for a walk. Always find that like that helps clear the mind. And then just from there, man, jumping right into calls, man. I'll just eat some breakfast super quick, make some eggs, jump into calls. I have like some training that I do, at like depending on the day, it's like usually 11 p.m. or I'm sorry, 11 a.m. But then yeah, it's just hopping on calls again, making a quick lunch, finishing up the day with some more calls, hopefully get some more cash collected in the pocket. But it's pretty simple, man. Like other than taking calls, it's like really no work. It's just like filling out post call forms and in my free time I will actually review some of the calls I do and see what I can do better, that sort of stuff. But really day to day, bro, is just hopping on calls and just making sales.
Mm. How many calls do you like right now, I guess, kind of typically take to earn that 5K?
Yeah, well it depends, man. Like we had so like the first 2 weeks of the month were super heavy. So I was taking like 5, 6 live calls a day. Let's say there'd be like 10 booked. So yeah, like maybe like around 5 or 6 calls a day. And then later in the month, it slowed down a little bit for whatever reason. I think guess marketing or like ad spend, whatever it is. And then I was literally just taking like 3 live calls a day. So days were pretty open towards the end of the month, but still good. And that's really still where it comes into like trying to make sure that in that free time you're dialing leads, you're actually making the most out of the role so that you can make more money.
100%. Do you
Yeah,
have
man.
like a close rate right now that you're sitting at?
Yeah, I'm sitting around 30% right now, so it fluctuates like 35%. And then yeah, just really like hasn't been lower than that on my last offer, dude. I was at like 15. So it was not the prettiest, but yeah, dude, it's been like a full jump for me, like pretty much doubling the close rate, which has been super nice on the pockets.
Yeah, dude, that's amazing. Look at that growth. That's awesome. So, I
I
mean,
know,
you,
man.
you you've taken like three leaps at this point, like one from just regular cold calling to your first
Hmm.
closing offer to now this offer. And I can
Yeah,
see you taking another leap after this into like a 10K offer. And even if you want to take another leap after that into like even more money into like
yeah,
20K or something like that. So I guess with what you've done so far, getting into like this 5K kind of closing offer, and who knows, you can offer up. What would you say to like a beginner person, like the sort of path of success from going to like zero to a 5K offer closing deals? Like, what are sort of the key things that they would have to do?
yeah. I'd say just number one, make yourself known by literally just doing outreach. I know it sucks, and like I wish I could just freaking grab people's hands like a puppet and just like make them do the outreach. Because for me, bro, that was the hardest part always is like sitting down and just committing to filming Loom videos and actually like doing role plays and mocks so you can record those and send them to companies. But it's really just like, dude, that first step is just it's in the trenches, man. Look with everything, you just actually have to get that recognition and get known because a lot of the space is it's all about who you know. And if you're crushing it on an offer and you can show, another offer that you're doing 30% or like even just showing them one call, that you closed like a harder prospect and dealt with some objections, that goes miles. So it's first key point really just being just do the work, man. Just like dedicate a time block where you can actually just sit down in front of your computer, like turn your phone off, don't be distracted, and just record and just outreach, right? Like find a list of 10 to 50 companies and just spend 2, 3 hours just actually going through the motions of outreaching, but also personalizing. So from there, man, then it's just getting better, right? So actually just focusing on skills, watching back the calls that you're having, seeing what went wrong, seeing where maybe there was disagreement with the prospect, how you could have asked the question better. Um, and then like, yeah, the biggest thing is just chunking down to what actually was the deciding factor that made you lose that call, and how can you fix that one thing? Because for me, improvement came from not just trying to fix like the whole process entirely, because everything that I had was shaky, and it probably still is a little bit. I'm not saying I'm the greatest here, but yeah, it's just really just diving into like specific parts. So like problem awareness, solution, and then objections, but not doing it to where you're overloading yourself and just trying to fix 1,000 things. You're just really focusing on one certain part that you can fix, and like that's going to be the biggest jump from like 1 to 5% when it comes to closing ratios. Does that
And
help?
if you really had to think about it, going
Yeah.
from 15% to 30, would you say
hmm
that was the change that you made to get there, or do you think it was something else?
Yeah, no, it 100% was. It was just really like keeping myself accountable, and like at the end of the day, offers are offers. You can't really change too much about that. And so all you can do is maximize what you're doing. So yeah, just getting the skills and getting better is crucial. But again, it does come down to like some offers are better than others. There's, a few different ways to kind of tell that, I guess. But yeah, as long as you're in some sort of offer, like you can maximize that and even be making, like 5K. It's just all about just getting better and just, being someone that's willing to watch over your calls and like ask for help when
Constant improvement. Constant
constant
improvement
improvement,
movements
man.
from
Yeah, I
being.
mean, it sounds cliche, but like, dude, really at the end of the day, that's all the shit's about, man. It's just like it's that iteration, man. Just that 1% every week. Like that's gonna be what floats you to the next step.
Okay. About like energy management and levels, like new revelations around that.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. I think it does come down to you have to actually, number one, you have to believe in what you sell. Like if you just get on a shitty offer and they're just like low key scamming people or there's no results around it, dude, energy is gonna be down. Like it's just like a given, right? You have to actually believe in what you're doing. So if you know that what you're doing is selling change, and you know that, the person on the call with you can get results if they just put in the work, and you're the vessel for them to get those results, then it becomes a game of like you're not in it for the sale, you're in it to change people's lives. And
Mm.
for me, that's been the biggest mindset shift I think I've had is like, getting to a point where you actually believe in what you sell and you're changing people's lives. That does wonders for energy management. And then there's always some little stuff, where like between calls, I'll go outside, get some sun, get that vitamin D, super important. Making sure that you're popping your velos or your zins in to keep dialed in.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I swear
Yeah.
that's like the modern day fucking sales cocaine. Like Wolf of Wall
Yeah.
Street, they're all
Yeah.
taking cocaine now. It's just like Zins and like nicotine gum.
Yeah, dude, I've developed a bad habit, but like, holy shit, it gets me locked in, bro. It's a cheat code.
And do you live in a place with a lot of sun, or do you got to pop the
Yeah, no, dude, I'm in North Carolina, so it's especially like this time of year, man, it's been beautiful. It's been like mid 70s, sun's shining.
oh, beautiful. Very nice. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
man.
And
Except for the pollen, that shit sucks. It's been eating me alive with the allergies.
yeah, yeah, same dude. I'm not a friend of. Was there anything, I guess, in this process that was sort of unexpected for you, or has everything more or less been what you've imagined?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I would say like honestly, it hasn't been that crazy of a roller coaster. It's been just like very much by the book for me. Like I know some people have crazy ups and downs. For me, it's just been like a slow, steady progression, which I'm fine with, because at the end of the day, I'm seeing it pay off. But yeah, nothing really crazy in terms of expectations or crazy things happening. Just been standard.
Slow, steady skill set building, going up
Yeah.
in income. getting
Yeah, slow and
better,
steady wins the
making
race,
more
man.
money.
That turtle wasn't lying.
Yeah, and you went from that closer role to this one, and you were on that one for 4 months ish, and then this is your first month. So you've only been like really in the high ticket sort of sales space for like 5, 6 months now,
Yeah, dude, when you put it that way, I mean, it feels like forever, but truthfully, bro, I guess it really hasn't been. Damn, that's crazy.
right? It's not even been a year,
Yeah, that's wild, bro. That is crazy to think about. You're right.
right?
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
good, man. I mean, the future's looking bright.
Yeah, literally, dude. If you can do this in like under, half a year, I'd say like by the end of this year, man, if you're doing anything less than 8, 9, or 10,000, dude, I'd be surprised. So I think it's
Yeah,
like very realistic for you to go from 5 to 10. All you got to really do is either book more appointments, close on out on a higher ticket thing,
yeah,
um, or yeah, really get more appointments or just close at a higher rate or sell a
right.
higher ticket thing.
Yeah, and dude, definitely like you're 100% right, man. I feel like with the skills, it's almost like everything's just started clicking. And that's like I don't know, it's so exciting, bro, because once like things start to click and like, you take a call where someone gave you an objection that, just a month ago you weren't able to handle and you lost a deal because of that, dude, that's like powerful to see.
It's like your own self growth.
Yeah. It's almost like you never knew it could happen.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think if we take a moment to just appreciate how far you've gone in the last little bit, it's
I
quite it's quite
appreciate it, man.
it's quite great, dude. Yeah.
Thank you,
Give
brother.
you flowers and say, good job, man. You did it. You're
Thank
here.
you, bro. I appreciate it, man.
Any word of advice or word of caution for anyone that's on the fence about getting into this industry? What would you tell them?
Yeah, so I'll start with just word of caution, man. Just it's not I think it's very glorified on the internet with a lot of people just setting false expectations for people. And I'll be 100% real with you, bro. Like closing is not for everybody. I went through my own doubts like is this for me? Like trust me, bro. I've been through the ringer on that. But word of caution just being like, if this is something you love, like if you love talking to people, if you love helping people make change, if you love people like helping people actually change their mindsets to something that's going to better them, then like this is absolutely for you. But if not, like, and if you're not willing to actually commit to the long game, because that's what this is, man. Like if you just expect to start closing and just get to make your own schedule, get to drink margaritas on the fucking beach, and like not actually have to improve in your skill set, then you're living a fantasy. So word of caution, like if you're not willing to put in the work and actually go over the specific area, it's very gritty when it comes down to like improving. And if you're not willing to get very hands-on with that, then maybe it's not for you. And that's fine, like it's not for everybody. But the word of advice and the word of like praise would be like if you fall into that category and you're willing to put in the work and improve and just like grind out for the long term, the long game, then like you can make so much money in the space and it's like it is a remote job, so you can go
And
wherever
entry level.
and it's very entry level. Yeah, 100%. You can start setting with no experience. It's very entry level. As long as you just have, that mindset and willingness to improve, dude, you can make a ton of money here and then you can make a freaking doctor's salary without ever going to school.
100%, dude. I was like, when my girlfriend got into setting, she was looking at all these different jobs online, looking at different remote jobs, and like a
Hmm.
lot of these things required like degrees or they required like years experience of like communication management and like all this different stuff. And she's like, I dropped out of university, like I don't have any skill set. So she was looking at like, okay, I can either wait tables and like serve people and make like
Hmm.
16, $20 an hour, or I can just like get a job in this thing, like an entry level position, and kind of grow up from there. Kind of similar
Yeah.
progression to you. Like didn't make a lot her first month. I think it was only like a couple $1,000, and
Mm.
then now she's getting onboarded onto an offer that's like as a setter, it was like a 6 to 8K on track earnings as a setter, like
Hell
a
yeah.
really killer company, dude. And I'm like, yeah, similar to you, bro. It's like she just had to steps on a
Yeah.
gáladder moving up.
Hmm.
Make sure she
That's
showed up every
awesome. Like,
day.
congrats for her. That's super huge as a setter. Like, there's so much,
Going
and
up.
also like, oh, I will say, when it comes to improving, especially like when you're starting out and you don't really have the time, like you don't have an offer, so like obviously you're not getting calls. Like those mocks are so important, man. And I feel like even something I've been thinking about recently. I don't know if you guys do this, but yeah, just having like a mock call just to go through everything, and then like being able to send that mock call like to potential offers would be huge. Like I didn't do this, and this is something that I wish I did in the beginning because I was just sending Loom videos, and that's super, super important. And like, don't get me wrong, like that's gonna land you an offer. But I feel like yeah, something that maybe I would have done at the beginning if I had no experience and like, wasn't able to leverage any real calls I was taking is just going through like a really good mock call and like handling like one or two objections and then being able to send that recording to the offer. And even just telling them like straight up like, hey, look, I haven't had any specific experience on an offer, but like this is a mock call I did relating to your offer. Like you could even personalize it. Like let's say you really wanted to land like a fitness offer or whatever. You could just run that mock with somebody, have them give you like two objections that you handle and end up like closing that person. And then just being able to send that recording in addition to your Loom and be like, hey, look, I made a mock specifically around your offer about like, how I think I would go about selling it. Let me know what you think. This is how I sell. And I think, dude, like for me, looking back, I just kind of had this thought the other day. That would be super, super clutch just for not having any experience.
100%. 100%. Because like you can just mock and it's like a real life scenario.
Yeah. And you don't even, I guess you don't even have to tell them that it's a mock. Like you could just be like, I don't know, like this is a call I've done. And if they ask, then you're like, okay, yeah, well, I made this like for your offer, like whatever. But yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's a great way.
You drop the price. It's like it's gonna be $1 million. And they're like, it's steep, but you got yourself a deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, no, this is a real offer. I
I
swear.
swear it's real.
Would you say like one final thing I want to ask you though is like when you were getting into this, like you were just talking about how like you didn't do that, right? What
Yeah.
would you say was like your absolute biggest challenge prior to like meeting me and finding a role?
Well, it was just even hearing back from people. I just wouldn't
Mm.
get responses because I didn't know like how to actually tap into giving value. Essentially is what it was. I was just some kid that was like, "Hey, I've cold called for 6 months. Let me close on your offer." They're like, "Get out of here, kid." They're like, "Whatever." And then yeah, so then I came across you and you helped me dial that process in, which was a huge godsend.
How did that make you feel? Like no one was getting back to you.
It sucked, man. It was discouraging, bro. I had many thoughts of going into, I guess, like a corporate 9 to 5, and that's something I'm totally against. Like I hate that. But I had thoughts of like, dude, I gotta pay the bills. So I mean, I don't know what to do. So I was either in this boat where it's sink or swim. I was like, I gotta either figure this out or just like go down a path that I don't want to go. And at the end of the day, for me, I was like, all right, I'm willing to get uncomfortable in terms of spending money, in terms of like getting experience and actually investing in myself and, willing to take the risk so that I can become, the guy that I am today and that the guy that I'm looking to be a year from now.
Which sidebar, we totally got to do like another follow-up call when you're like moved out and you're like somewhere
Yeah,
traveling too. A year from
100%, man.
now, like went 6 months, when you're there, 100%.
100%. Yeah.
We have to hit that.
Yeah, dude. I'll probably get on a call shirtless somewhere, just like maybe Puerto Rico, sitting by the beach. Like, Ethan, what they said about high ticket sales was right, bro. Check me out.
I just
Sipping my
closed 3 deals
margarita.
on the beach.
Yeah, just
Margarita.
closed 3 deals with my toes out in the sand. My margarita, bro. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. That was like, yeah, dude. I mean, I don't think people realize how much you actually like when you're closing, like you have to almost be on. You got to be like on and
Yeah.
ready. You can't
Yeah,
like
100%, dude. You can't be
just
dicking around.
yeah, you can't really be just be dicking around and just be like I don't know, rolling out of bed and then hopping on a call. I mean, like
Yeah.
maybe if you're like insanely good and you're just like it just comes like so natural the words out of your mouth, but like it's like you got to
Yeah.
be in peak state. It's like
Yeah, dude. Totally, man. And like, dude, I've done that. I've rolled out of bed before, and you know how many deals I've closed after rolling out of bed? Zip. The mindset's not there, bro. It is very it's an art, man, and you really have to hone in that craft. And that's why I love it because it's super fun once you actually start to see the results coming in from hopping on a call for like 45 minutes with someone and you get $750 in your bank account in like 30 minutes. It's sick. But there's like a big science and a big art to that as well. Like you can learn the science of closing, but what I'm starting to realize too now is it doesn't matter like so much the science of it if you can't add your own personality to it, right? Because at the end of
Sure.
the day, you're just a means to an end. You're just helping somebody actually transition to making a change in their life.
Hmm.
And if you don't have that, if you've never done that yourself, like if you've never invested in yourself, if you're not that person who is actually doing the change and like bettering themselves on self-improvement, then like how can you really be qualified to help somebody else? So yeah, it does come down to like a science, but also an art. And in order to unlock that, like you can't be like dicking around, rolling out of bed on the beach, like not in the right mindset. Like
Yeah.
you do have to lock in.
You do a little bit. I mean, and you learned that sort of science, that closing skill set in like a month. Like it got you good enough to get hired on an offer. And
Yeah,
then since then, for the 4 months, you've been continuously learning to make more money. But like it legitimately, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it only took you like a month of learning before you got like in an offer.
yeah, 100%, dude. Because I was like, look, I need to get an offer so I can make money. So I just learned everything I could possibly about like the bare minimum. And then yeah, it landed me an offer and I was able to launch pad that into where we are now and continue to refine and get that closed. But yeah,
Nice.
man, just finally ramping this thing up. I'm on an offer. Was able to do 5 last month, which is the biggest I've ever made. Nothing crazy, in terms of what I could make, but like that was huge, man, because I was only making like last time we spoke that offer ended up being not the best just in terms of like the service delivery side of things. No shame, no hard, language to anyone there. Super respect. So we kind of ended up parting mutual ways. I also wasn't closing to the ability that they wanted to. I was pretty shit, just kind of, getting the ropes and the hang of things. So yeah, we ended up parting ways, man. And then I hopped into a new offer now, which has been very, very nice. Last month did 5, so like can't complain, brother. Hopefully we get 6 this month, maybe even 7. We're looking pretty good.
We're here in Switzerland.